welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. Make sure you got those trip drops and you're enjoying your Memorial Day weekend if you're celebrating here in the United States. It is a time of remembrance and celebration for our armed services, so thank you to you who are or were in the military. It really does mean a lot to many of us that you are willing to take on that role, even if you're not in a combat state. So thank you so much, and I hope that you had a fantastic weekend for many reasons. But pirates, we've got a lot to talk about this week. I've managed to distract my cat motion sensor with some bird videos for the time being so I can get this recording finished up. But I got to sit down with the Gold Hoarders this week and talk about Season 16 initial impressions. I was very happy to kind of get to see some of the action that we've seen with some of this. It has brought a lot of spice to adventure. And we've got a lot to talk about this week. I tried to get through the notes as thoroughly as possible, but with the Gold Hoarder episodes, it's always hard because it feels weird just talking straightly about the show notes and then been like, so what do you guys think? So it's a little bit more of a conversational coverage for that, which I appreciate because it was nice to hear some of their thoughts and feelings on this as well. And it's going to take a few weeks, I think, for us to kind of get a gauge on the initial impressions, because right now it's doing better than it was when it first came out. And we're only talking about 4 days worth of coverage here. So there's been some issues, but I think at the core level, this has been a pretty interesting update for Reapers. So pirates, with that, let's get into it. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They are the ones that are producing this podcast. Their support is helping me out. It's even covering some of the food and travel costs for XEP's trip to Summer Games Fest. So my hotel was taken care of by the patrons and supporters over at XEP. My flight was taken care of through points, but food and travel is being taken care of by my Patreon for Keelhauled. So I am going to be going out there. I can't talk about all of the really cool events that I've got scheduled, but anything piratey that I find, I'm going to be talking about here as well. And I've actually got the episode where I am interviewing Mike Chapman recorded. I need to send it in to get it edited if there needs to be anything that has to get taken out. And once it's approved by Rare, I will probably have that set up as the episode that will fall during the week that I'm going to be traveling to Summer Games Fest. Since I won't be home, there wouldn't normally be an episode. I would probably be doing live streams to cover what I find there. But because of the patrons, because of the support of being able to go there, and the timing of this interview, I wanted to try and get the interview ready so that it goes live during that weekend of Summer Games Fest. So you have a nice episode with Mike Chapman to talk about the game from a lore perspective, as well as mechanics, the future of the game, all kinds of good topics that you would expect me to cover with him. So working on that right now. And we'll probably have one more episode that's a normal episode coming up next week. So pirates, with that, let's get into the patron callouts. Thank you to A-Chick, Elacute, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Longsharts, Choppers 918, Chateau Noof, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Godhammer 6, Carl Embo, Kylia the Aficionado, Kyler B, Nightstar 1980, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Oars, Xbox Mike 29, Norwegian, Rabid Raccoon, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Ribloid, Rustbell Kid, Shoe Daddy 13, Skamelt 666, The Demon Jester, Tommy D, TN Professor, Vaporwave, Vibralux, Wailing Witch, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, The Lore Chronologist Deadeye Dre, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Zay. Wow. Thank you all so much for your love, for your support. It really does help with a lot of stuff, whether it's either covering the costs of internet, software, hosting sites, not having to have ads in the podcast, promotional stuff like that. It's all helps. It's really fantastic that you guys care that much. So thank you all so much. And for those of you that don't, thank you so much for just listening, for supporting. It really does help out as well too. Talking about all the comments that I see on the YouTube version on it, or if you're Owen, who loves pizza and needs help with Sea of Thieves, I feel you, buddy. Listen, the best advice I can give to you is every time you get to an island, make sure that you raise sails and ta-da. Welcome everyone to the May Gold Hoarder episode. This is coming in hot off the heels of not only just season 16's launch, but also we are going to be talking about like the hotfix that just came in. I'm going to be taking a look at why my audio looks so quiet, and then I just fix it later on. But before we get into any of the actual notes for this latest patch, I want to go down the list and make sure that everyone gets a shout out for joining me today. We've got a good cast of crew. There's at least a galleon's worth joining us this week for our Gold Hoarder episode. Starting at the top of the list, Godhammer, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Happy to have new tools, even when we're all tired of tools. But this one's good.
This is a good tool. It's a very very well thought out tool, in my opinion. We'll definitely get into the Cannon of Rage, which you're alluding to. Everything else going well, though?
Oh, yeah. Losing 40K. Just sailing with my good folks. That's you know what? I'm pleased.
Good. And for those of you not familiar, 40K, not money, but in Warhammer terms, he didn't lose a car's worth of cash somehow.
That's a good clarification. No, I lost my toy soldier game today by rolling dice badly.
Yeah. Just want to make sure folks aren't worried and start a GoFundMe for Godhammer for something. We're not sure what happened. Norwegian coming in next. Norwegian, how you doing? I know we were just talking before we started to hit record that you have some toddlers that are trying to self-delete or to try and become the next assassin. Whatever works for the for the oh gosh, I forgot what the name of what's the thing that the Assassin's Creed.
The Leap of Faith.
The Leap of Faith. But what's the program that they're in?
Oh, the Animus.
Animus.
Wow, I completely pulled that out of the back of my brain. But yes,
nice.
I'm doing well. My kids are being kids and giving me some gray hairs, and yeah, holy moly, kids.
Yep. So if Norwegian has to dip out for anything at any point, just know that he's fine. The kids may not be. And hopefully the house survives, because that's always important to childbearing, from what I understand. Next up, we have Regis Stella. Regis coming in. Regis, how you doing, buddy? You waking up yet?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Got my drinks necessary, and
same.
It's very, very early in the morning for me, as per usual for me.
Yeah. It's, well, take it in stride. Don't feel like if you haven't gotten quite awake yet, definitely take your time, because we have none.
Yeah, well, I will.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Then last up, we've also got Static Mirror jumping in. Static Mirror, creator, owner, and pusher of Crystal Pigs. Have you done anything with them? You created any mishaps or sold any Crystal Pigs on the market, the black market?
No, unfortunately, I have not.
We'll get there.
I've been stuck in a rowboat for the last few months, why I haven't made it to the recordings. I just got back to Sanctuary Outpost now to make this call.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm sure that you probably hung out next to Lorena, maybe a little too long. I definitely understand, but it's good to have you back. It's good to have everyone here and ready to talk about season 16. There's a lot to cover. I'm gonna say, for my own personal preference, I'm glad that BattleNet now has Sea of Thieves I was very confused when I started the season up and I started to get like Plunder Pass stuff for level 1 and like level 5 and stuff. And I was like, why am I getting Plunder Pass? I haven't bought it yet. Completely forgot that I managed to actually like get that with the premium edition. And Godhammer, I'm curious, we were talking about it yesterday, I think it was. Did we actually, did you get your refund for it?
I haven't put in the thing yet. I should do that.
Don't forget,
Yes,
do it while we're doing this. It's a top of
yeah,
mind.
I should probably do that. Yes, I am also the sucker whale and bought the BattleNet edition. And then in a moment of pure folly, I bought the Plunder Pass. So I got to get a refund because I shouldn't have bought the Plunder Pass again.
Yeah,
because they give it to you.
Yep.
I'm gonna do that right now, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if y'all have checked out the Plunder Pass that's come in this week. I think I'm in my 30s right now. I think I'm in the 30s or 40s. But I'm definitely digging the cosmetics that they're putting out for this, the Reaper stuff. I don't know if y'all will check this out, but man, you get a spiked mohawk out of it. You get like a Sub-Zero scorpion mask out of it. Like there's some pretty good stuff in this season pass.
That is speaking to my 90s childhood right there.
Right?
To Ninja Turtles and everything.
It's kind of cool. I'm kind of happy about it. But yeah, I can't speak for everyone, but if you guys happen to get the BattleNet edition, there is a sales of bonded brawlers for everyone that got put in, which 100% calls back again to like the 80s and 90s with the Predator movie and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Norwegian. You got the trivia on the other guy by chance. I want to say his name is like Sam.
You're talking about the Predator movie, the original one?
Yeah. Oh, I'm blanking on the name.
The Glover guy? No, he was in the second one.
Glover was in the second one?
I think so. Is it Donald Glover? Or I can't think of his name right now.
I'm pretty sure it is Donald Glover. I think you, once again, are 2 for 2 on the trivia tonight.
Why you take me to trivia night?
Oh no! I am sorry, sir. The original Predator, which I believe is where that strong handshake was actually Carl Weathers played Dylan.
Oh, that is right.
Carl Weathers.
Oof.
Which is it's really kind of funny because that takes me over to Mandalorian for some reason.
I do like how you shot me down like Alex Trebek though on that one.
Apologies on that one. That was me feeling very confident in your answer. But the sales of Bonded Brothers is out. If y'all haven't grabbed those by logging in, make sure you do that soon. So that way you not only get credit for getting the sales, there's also the early login bonus as well too. So you get that extra gold just for jumping into the game in the first week of launch. So definitely worth popping in to kind of check that stuff out. Looking at some of the other things that are coming in with the cross-platform play, there is some oddness with inviting people into your crew. I've been having to do mine all through the in-game menu. So by going to like my crew, then hitting 1 or I think it's Y, and going through the list of friends to be able to invite people through the BattleNet edition. So just be aware that it's not populating that someone's playing the game. If they do have the BattleNet version playing through Xbox, it doesn't show that as far as I've been able to test. But outside of that, kind of cool. I kind of like that the games just keeps going everywhere. Hopefully someday we'll actually get it on a Switch too, and I'll truly have it on every single platform.
It'd be fun since they can get Doom to play everywhere. Maybe they could get Sea of Thieves to play everywhere. Maybe someday we'll be playing Sea of Thieves on our Samsung fridges.
Oh, I would love to do that, but I feel like I would probably go with the Amazon Alexa version over the Samsung refrigerator.
Come on, let's be reasonable. Switch 2 all the way.
True. And my video of the Sea of Thieves being on the Switch and using the little Gold Hoarder Kotaku figure as an amiibo could very much be one of those like, hey, let's make this happen, please. Thanks. But that wasn't all that really came in. I think now would probably be a good time to jump into the hotfix that came in that for all intents and purposes took care of a lot of the what's it called? Almond beards and marble beards. We got a new one called Bluebeard. I don't know if y'all saw that. It was a fun one, which I think is associated with the BattleNet version too. But we got the hotfix for the Cannon of Rage. And I'm going to open it up to you all. Have you gotten a chance to find one? Have you played around with them? What do you think? Kind of initial impressions if you've gotten a chance to mess with them.
I got to pick one up twice the first night we played, which was before they deployed that hotfix. So I got to put it on the ship.
Got to touch it.
Fold it out. Yeah, I got to fold it out and sell it. They really incentivize you to use it rather than sell it, because that thing's only 250 gold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. You may as well use that thing.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. So for those that don't know, and if you guys have messed around with it, feel free to jump in, let me know, or unmute and let me know. But for those of you that don't know, the Cannon Rage is out. Norwegian, you've used it?
Yes, I am, and I apologize now. I know I'm on the polar opposite spectrum of Godhammer on this one, so he and I are going to be two halves of the same coin for this one. But yes, used it, experienced the day one bolt-on keg, and had to explode it to get it off of my boat. But I'm happy that they have since patched it. It works very, very well. Too well. It is extremely powerful if you know the finesse of it. Store it, don't leave it out. Take your shots, fold it back down. It will not take any damage after that. So they're fantastic. It's a great idea. I think it's a little too overpowered, and I think it 100% changes the sea battle meta. Getting chased by a brig, it was very easy to pop that thing up, wave at them, and knock their mast in 2 shots.
Oh, wow.
They're fun. They're absolutely hilarious. You can have a lot of fun with these things. You really want to have a good time. Go put 2 of them inside of the Reaper's hideout, the area where you go to sell, and wait for somebody to walk in with you and your buddy sitting there on cannons as they walk in with whatever chest to sell. Yeah, no, they're fun. They're a lot of fun. I don't think they're in the right place at the moment, and they need to be extensively reworked or looked at. But other than that, they're fun.
Interesting. So do you mind if I take the devil's advocate on this in this situation?
By all means.
Okay, so playing devil's advocate, coming from like a MOBA background or like a MMO where I feel like there's generally like meta shifts in games. It's always hard when making something new for players to break away from the habit of what they're used to, unless you nerf the heck out of it so much that they're forced to use something else, and that never feels good. It never feels like when devs have to force people into new characters or new items because the thing that they love was nerfed to the point where it's not even worth using anymore. So generally the rule of the principle behind developing new tools is to make them just a little more powerful at the beginning to drive engagement, and then test it, see how it lands. If it feels like nobody's being too abusive with it, and it feels like it's not swaying the meta too much, then you can leave it at what its state is. But if it is too much, then they will take the feedback, see how things play out for a week or so, and then roll in a patch that kind of brings in the damage or the range or the durability of it, things like that. But initially, it's good to try and get people to play around with the new fancy thing by making it feel just a little bit overpowered to start with, if that makes sense, because it's always better. I mean, we've seen kind of like take the grapple gun as an example, did not feel very good at the start. They eventually pushed it up to what a normal harpoon is and fixed the ammo issue. It feels like a great tool now. So does that kind of make you feel a little bit like they would be willing to go back and kind of nerf it if necessary, or does that make sense?
I would hope so. And side note, I do agree with you that the grapple gun feels fantastic right now, especially for environmental conversing. They need to look into how many cannons can be on a boat. You can put a ridiculous amount of these things on your boat. There's just too many situations right now where it feels like they wanted to shift the meta of the game to almost too much with this, without the proper balancing. Like, for example, if you've got a galleon and you're losing battle, you decide to run, you've got 4 of these things, point 4 of them facing backwards, help everybody fire 4 chain shots, and wave as you sail away. Same thing with the sloop. Slap 2 of those in the back or 2 of them in the front. And when you're chasing, the problem is these things. You can mitigate the damage that is incoming on them. You should not be able to drop these things once you start firing. If that cannon's hot, you should not be able to lower it. Because once you lower it, this thing could be almost about to explode. You've lowered it, and now you're fine. It's not going to take any more damage. I think the damage that they take before blowing up is in a good place. If I recall correctly, it was 6 sword swipes, 2 cannonballs, or I think it was 4 pistol shots would blow one up. Wanted to test it more, but I accidentally sank myself. Anyway, be careful when testing these things. They do a lot of damage when they blow. I think it's a fun tool. I hope that they rebalance it. I hope that they're still looking at it. I hope that now it's in a large environment that they're looking at how people are interacting with them and how they're being used and to what degree.
Yeah, I am in the same boat. I'm very curious. I just got done jumping in with Caleb, who needed help stealing a couple skulls, and thinking about the way that our engagement with the sloops that we encountered in the brig that third-partied us, if either of those crews had portable cannons, the fight would have gone much different in my mind. But also, as someone who had 2 of these deployed next to the cannons on my a sloop, I accidentally ran over a keg in the water, and having the keg blow up 2 cannons on my sloop and kill me instantly, not only somehow managed to spawn a meg, which then started to bite me, but almost sank my ship instantly. Like, I came back from the ferry like milliseconds to spare with getting a bucket, and I knew it because I was spamming B button to get the bucket out, but I almost sank from 2 of those exploding on my ship with the keg.
Sounds like you also made Rare mad at you for some reason.
No, that's not how that works. Is that how that works? Do I need to send an apology? I probably need to send an apology. I don't know what for. I'll find out. But yeah, it's interesting to me that they don't take damage when they're not deployed, because I feel like they should not change the concept or the functionality, because the Chest of Rage doesn't have this kind of thing. Like, you can stick it in the water, which cools it down, but that principle follows with the Cannon of Rage. So why does the deployment of it impact the vulnerability or the mechanic of how that should work? I feel like that could get addressed, and I'd be okay with it taking damage even if it wasn't deployed. But does anyone else feel like that is a bridge too far, or we need to give it time in testing? Like, do you think that that's an issue at present? Alrighty. Well, if everyone feels good, then I think at that point it's going to be up to the devs to kind of decide, like, if that's an area that needs attention, which I'm sure that at some point we'll probably get a video from Drew talking about that. Has everyone gotten a chance to try the new Skeleton Boys yet? Because I don't know about you, but these nerds buried in the sand, like it's some, passed out father on the beach that their kids buried, are awesome.
Yeah, they're very awesome.
That's an oddly specific pull there.
It was a Lilo Stitch pull. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Please no.
Made me think of Lilo Stitch when there's like the one of the like they buried, I think it was Stitch or someone in the sand. But yeah. In
case you haven't heard, Lilo Stitch is not exactly the thing you want to be talking about right now.
I'll talk about what I want. I don't care what people's opinions of it are. If they want to like it, they can like it. If they don't want to like it, they don't have to like it. It's not going to take the
fair enough.
Not going to they can't take my animated version away from me, and I'll still watch that version.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you're talking about the animated one, it's fine. The new one, the live action one, please no.
I still want to see it. It looks cute. I'm giving it a shot. But yeah, we got Skeleton Mercenaries that came out. These nerds are fantastic. I can't wait for these nerds to be everywhere and just have them do my bidding. It's amazing. If you guys don't know, you can head over to islands. I find bigger islands tend to have at least 2 on there. But there's a skull and a hand kind of sticking out. It's a big bright red glow, which I appreciate as well too. You do a couple digs, you pull them out of the sand to reassemble them, and whoever does that gets a little follower, and they can dig for you. You can show them the map that you're on, and they will help you with digs locations. They'll tell you to follow you. They'll kind of like silently wave you over and kind of point you into the direction that you need to be. Or they'll kind of shake their head and say like, I don't know what to do. It works for riddles. It works for X marks the spots. Very happy about that. And they can carry stuff as well too, which then makes me wonder, can I hand him a caged snake? And if he gets spit on, will he eventually die, or is he immune? Did they test for this?
That is a good question. I haven't tested that yet.
I haven't gotten a chance to either. I haven't found a cage to
Sea of Science?
Sea of Science. Science.
I know what I'm doing this weekend now.
Oh, it's going to take all weekend. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
For science.
Very,
Ooh.
very nice. Yeah, we've used them a couple times on the new voyage. We just sort of hand them because at the very last part of the new voyage, which I suppose we'll talk about soon,
Yes.
we handed off some of the items to the skeletons for them to run down to the ship as we were doing that. And that is mostly what I like about them. They're an extra pair of hands to run loot.
By far, that is the best feature of them. Is it's like a little personal golf caddy. They carry everything. It's great.
That's a great connection to them. They are like a little caddy. I love that they have like a full range of weapons. I love that they fight. I love that they will drop a chest or whatever they're holding to help you fight or to help you dig. Great design there. I really appreciate that you don't have to wait for them. You can hand them something like a stool, very important. You can run off or grapple halfway across an island, and they'll dive into the sand and then pop up where you are with item in hand. And it is, I don't know how they worked out that function. I imagine it probably works similar to storing stuff in a mermaid statue, but I absolutely love that I don't have to wait for these boys to get where they're going. These nerds just appear and disappear whenever they need to and stick with you the whole time. Really, really beautiful design here. And Godhammer, we'll have to get into it about the voyage as well too, but did you notice the difference between the skeletons for the voyage and the skeletons that you dig up?
No, not really. I mean, one of them's got like red glowy bits in their chest, but
that's it.
That's
it right there. You got it.
Oh, okay.
You nailed it. Yay! Yeah. So
I did it.
I did it. Which I think there's a soundboard for that somewhere. I most definitely believe I know somewhere on one of these soundboard things we have that. Nope, that wasn't it.
Oh, that works too, though.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. But yeah, with the new advent of these guys, I wanted to bring it up to you all. Do you think that we are going to see these expanded out to be things that we'd be able to have like on ships at some point, or to replace people? If somebody, say, like has 2 friends, wants to try out a brig, sick of the sloop, wants to bring in a crew member, says, I'm willing to have an AI crew member, knowing that it's going to not be as good or as I guess good is probably the easiest way to explain it, but as good as a normal person playing the game with me, but at least we'd be able to have a full crew on a brig.
Now, okay, last time you talked about this, I sort of mentally dismissed it outright, as in I didn't think it was ever going to happen. But we've got these now, and that's sort of the step towards that, so I can't really dismiss it anymore, at least not completely out of hand. Will we ever see something that can accurately mimic another player? No. But I mean, it's not impossible now. because you could sort of use the like an emote wheel sort of function with which to give an NPC character commands, is what I could see. So it's like sail up, sail down, turn left, turn east, turn west, east, northeast sort of deal. So it's not or you could tell it to get on cannons that way, anchor, pull anchor up, prepare for borders sort of deal. So it's not impossible. It just seems difficult to do. So I don't know how likely that they'll be to prioritize that sort of thing, but I just moved from never gonna happen to maybe in my mind.
For me, after what happened with the Darth Vader AI thing in Fortnite, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that as long as you don't make it respond to your questions. Like, just please no. Please not that part specifically, because if from the videos I've seen of, like, you know, the responses that Darth Vader AI from Fortnite gets from some of the most
well, we're not necessarily talking about like needing to have someone to chat with, which is what that more was about.
As long as
I'm purely
as long as we don't get like the
sorry, go ahead.
As long as we don't get responses, as long as we don't get responses from the AI saying like just stupid questions like, I don't know, skibbity toilet, whatever the hell that is.
No,
that will be fine.
I'm thinking purely functional. Like they've already kind of got the ship AI with Jack Sparrow and with the Burning Blade, clear indications on how they've managed crews to do AI that are working with a person on ship as part of the crew.
Yeah.
I'm more looking to see, like, is this something that, and this is purely for people that don't want open crew, but don't have enough people to be able to sail in some of the larger ships. Because there are, you know, there's folks that have bought cosmetics for ships that they want to see on larger ships. You know, it would be nice if we had 3 people. We don't have a 4th, but we still want to sail on a galleon. Having one person just as a skeleton, like on there, be able to help out with raising the wheel, with angling the sails, being able to fire a cannon. There's an obvious, like, it's not going to be as accurate or as smart as a person, and having them do something would be something that it's more just a means to an end, not trying to use them as something that's better than another person, but giving someone an opportunity to have help. Because I think that's what we're all enjoying about these, right? Is you like having someone there to help carry loot. Yeah,
exactly. I just want to put that out there, just, you know, just like as a cautionary tale, like, don't do what Fortnite's doing, basically.
Well, it's so beyond what I think Rare's intent with these are. It's not even a question in my mind. They haven't voiced skeletons. Like they would have to build out the architecture for that to be implemented into the game, and that's just not a priority for them at this point.
It's also a question if the game could even handle that too at this point where it's at.
I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult. I feel like the API could be built into it, but I think that Rare values the crew and the person-to-person communication that you have there. I don't think their intent is to try and replace people. I think their intent is to try and add functionality or add assistance where the impact is going to be light enough.
They'll never replace a good crew anyway. I mean, we can make the jokes of, all you do is stand on the front of the boat all day long, but we know who that is. But the creativity, you don't have that. You don't have the situation to look at it, hey, we're coming in to sell, or we need to avoid this ship that is chasing us, and we jump in the water, grab that keg, and just drop it in front of the boat. Just that level of creativity will never be there. Maybe they could do the base functions of always helping you with the sails, or maybe popping a shot once or twice off of a cannon, but we'll never do that.
I mean, there's an easy way that they can make these AIs almost replicate humans. And all they have to do is program them to just bunny hop wherever they go. That's literally all they got to do. And then it's just like having a real human on your boat.
I feel like the only way that would work is if they were actually not skeletons, but they were NPCs that were wearing the ruby Splashtail King costume.
You know what would be a fun idea if they could do it is pull off something like what Forza does with their Drivatars, where they build off of what your crew or that your profile does of how you drive and what your habits are, and they just throw that on the skeleton for your crew, and you can have one of you guys usually sell with, and they act like they do. That'd be fun. That's a dream, though.
I don't
Great.
need my skeleton crew also sneaking kegs into the crow's nest. Much like my current crew. Sam,
You don't
I'm calling
need
you out.
you don't need that.
That is why you need it.
You don't need it, but that's definitely what I want.
It's not what I want.
If these skeletons were to do what Forza does, we would be having skeletons beaching everybody's ship everywhere we go and hitting every rock possible. There's a lot of bad sailors out there. I just gotta say that.
So one of the fun things that this reminds me of is with the Switch and Smash Bros. Ultimate, you can have amiibo for the different characters in the game as well as like your own. You can kind of do that, and you can actually train the amiibo to store data to actually like have like player data, and you can train it to fight through AI, like comp versus comp or CPU versus CPU fights. And then I've gone to conventions where people have brought their amiibo and they've had full on tournaments with amiibo versus amiibo. And it would be very funny if you could bring some of that functionality over to Sea of Thieves through the Switch 2 port that I think is coming, that you could actually have like your AI trained up. So if you wanted to, have your AI learn something off of what you do, you have it do stuff with you, and then as it is doing things, you give feedback to it, like, that's good, that's bad. You train your AI skeleton so that you can actually have it be someone who is more of a bilge and repairs, or more of a cannoneer than and working on sales, or more of a helm so that you can go and board. But it's a weird world to think about. Like if that is the route that you're going to go, are you losing some of that intent behind what Sea of Thieves is great at, which is coming into contact with other crews? Like today, sailing up to a crew who had a skull from the new voyage that was most definitely going to be taken from them. And the first thing we hear out of their mouths when we get on board their ship is, maybe we could make an alliance. And it's like, no, that's cute though. But at the end of the day, I think I really appreciate what Rare is trying to do here. I think that this is kind of an interesting way to build a means of accessibility in a way that they didn't really anticipate.
If you want it to happen more, all you have to do is really point out that you could just put outfits for your skeleton crew on your boat in the Emporium. That makes it just a little bit more likely.
Ooh, man, paying for costumes for my skeleton. If it was like an AI, like persistent thing, like if I could load up a skeleton on a ship and have like a crew outfit, that would be pretty interesting. Just saying. Do we want to get into the new voyage? How many of you guys have been playing with that?
This is one I can actually talk about.
Ooh.
Yes, we've done about 5 of them now between our crew. I find them quite fun. It's a nice shakeup with the skeletons and the models, just sort of. I feel really bad because I don't identify as a Reaper, but I'm further ahead on Servants of the Flame, and I hit Distinction 5 in Reapers far before I hit. I haven't even hit Distinction 5 in Athena, so it feels really bad to slaughter a bunch of Athena ghosts, but evidence bores out that I guess I'm more of a Reaper than a Pirate Legend sort of deal, so that feels bad, but here we are. The voyage itself, I like that it marks you on the map. You have to constantly be on the lookout while you're doing the thing. There's a good element of danger to it. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but there's a bit of a visual bug whenever you start up the voyage. that I assume will get patched out fairly soon. But there's a visual bug where you can see the fog of the voyage across the map.
Yeah.
Me and Sam were looking at it the other day and like, what the hell is that? And then we figured it out after we got closer. But I like the go seek version, the go seek element of the pillars, finding those and then digging them up and then fighting some phantoms. It's fairly basic as a voyage, but I think it works well. Is it Reapery? Yes, kind of, sorta, but it's a new element to Flameheart's plan. He's got more of a method, or more of a means now. He's got a focus now. He was all about kill the pirates, sink their boat, steal their treasure, sort of thing. But now he's got a new focus, which is acquire information. And so it's sort of appropriate that it feels different. I think it represents a new phase of his new growth in his dynamic. So I think it's nice that it feels different. And having the skull be marked on the map is really good, because you're going to have to steal a bunch of those once you've got your skeleton bones, and knowing that where they are on the map, that's going to make it a lot better when it comes
same
to
with your ship.
writing that down.
Yes,
yeah, that's
same
fine.
with your ship, because you have like every time you do a Reaper's Voyage, your ship automatically gets equipped the Reaper's Mark flag, which I'm like, no, thank you, I'm not doing that anymore. Thank you.
Well, I was already flying Reapers, so it's not too big a deal. Everybody already knew where I was.
Yeah, fair enough.
But otherwise, I like the voyage. I think it's a good addition. At the very least, it's just a new voyage that you can do, aside from like Gold Hoarder, Order of Souls, Merchant. It's fresh, and you've got a fresh new avenue of things to do, which I'm appreciative of. And the commendation limits are pretty good. I like where they set this one. Nice and meaty. You've got time to work on it.
Awesome. Anyone else wanted to jump in on the voyage? I think it's personally very interesting, because you do kind of go to an island with the Reaper's Mark up. I would imagine most people are probably running Emissary, but there's always an opportunity that people don't have captainships, which always has to be taken into account. So the Mark was a good way to kind of let people know, like, hey, somebody's out there working on it. It really kills like this is a new crew with a bunch of kids that have no clue what this thing is. We should probably go warn them. It is now like this is actually like there's an intent behind having this being used. I've sold 2 stolen Skulls of the Banished as a Reaper's Bones emissary, but I don't get credit for those because I don't have a skeleton curse. And once again, points out I'm not too big a fan of when they do stuff like this. I get that it's tied to skeleton cosmetics, but as someone who does not like engaging in Hourglass and is engaging with PvP in the world, it's kind of a shame that there isn't just a way for me to earn retroactive like credit for these, just because I haven't gotten my curse yet. So I like the new voyage. I think they've done a good job of making it feel tied to lore without being so lore heavy as the Veil is, and allows you to kind of have that experience of Flameheart trying to get more information, trying to suss out information from the orb to discover the location of the widow, who was a part of the ancients who were banished for being evil by the good ancients. So there's definitely different types of ancients out there. It's not all good ancients and bad ancients. And it's interesting that Flameheart's going out there looking for the bad ancients. And the skeletons that you're given when you start off this quest by opening up a Reaper chest are fantastic. I love that we'll be getting that as a tool down the line somehow. But having them help you during this really does help with giving you the opportunity to take on so many ancients, which I found in my personal experience, one good sword lunge will take out most of the ghosts. So try to keep that in mind, and definitely don't underestimate them because they will murder you very quickly. But I love the way that if you're not quite sure how to do this or where to go, you can still show the skeletons the map, and they will kind of take you to the next location. So I appreciate like the helping hand, if you will, if you need it. Otherwise, you may not need it, and you can just head over to where the different ones are. But they do dig up chests to kind of give you like a little bit of like a hint, like, hey, it's around here, because we're digging up a bone chest that has a rune on it that says bones, and it's just one of the new Reaper chests. Norwegian says in chat, rare pushing PvP over story. Make your hourglass first to do PvPvE quests. It's interesting to see them kind of do this with Reapers, and maybe Godhammer or Norwegian, someone wants to jump in on this. It's interesting that they're locking certain things behind the hourglass function only for Reapers, and they still haven't done anything for Athena.
They're locking. I mean, they're only locking your skeleton bones behind Hourglass. And Reapers is a faction that is all about fighting other people. So it doesn't really. It makes sense why there's fighting involved in this one.
Less about the fighting for the actual voyages, but more so that the commendations are locked behind a mode that isn't tied to the voyages that are presented in the actual faction.
Yeah, but the only thing they have locked behind the that is your skeleton curse. Is your skeleton curse bones? Are the rewards locked behind that? And so yeah, if you got to get them bones.
I think that is more the issue. Like I can't earn credit for these, so that when I do unlock the curse, I will have that access even if I put in the work.
Yeah, that's fair. There should be that. You should be able to sell them and get like credit towards it, but you shouldn't be able to unlock them until you've got your curse. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's more my trouble is there's a large number of commendations, especially with like when the Burning Blade came in. And now with this one that, cause I'm thinking of my own perspective, but I'm also thinking in 2 years when people start playing the game, or in a year when people join on Switch 2, there's going to be a lot of commendations to work on. And some of these people aren't going to understand, how do you get a curse? What is the skeleton curse? And if they don't look it up, or if they don't understand it, there's nothing that really points them to Hourglass. That's the reward. So it always goes back to, well, I have these. I don't know how to access them or get them complete, and I'm frustrated. So I'm always wanting to try and make sure that gets communicated in a way, or at least allows players to get a better understanding of how to get to that point. If it's going to be really hard, I'd even say like 6 months from now, it's going to be real hard to find people doing these voyages and stealing those skulls. So if you don't already have your skeleton curse, you're already going to be at a disadvantage, because now you have to get your curse and hope that you get your curse in a reasonable amount of time that most people are still working on these voyages.
I would like to chime in here on something.
Of course.
So I agree with you 100%. I find it very irritating that I have to have the skeleton curse to do certain accommodations involving around the Burning Blade and also these new voyages and stuff. It's quite irritating. But if they're going to have those, I think, now, a lot of people are probably going to hate me for this, but I think that the basic skeleton curse, the basic curse, should be level 50, not 100. And then, not to mention the Burning Blade, there are certain accommodations you can't get unless you have the Obsidian skeleton curse. And I believe you got to be 250 or 300 for that curse. So you have to be even further into the PvP to even unlock some of those accommodations to get that curse, or that version of the curse. I'm just not a fan of a game that tries to push you to grind and grind and grind, but you have to halt on grinding certain things because you have to grind other things first.
Not just that. I mean, they're pushing the PvP grinding. They want you to go fight. I don't know. They keep saying that they want you to create your own story. but it's go create your own story in an hourglass fight. That's what it feels like.
I personally am okay with it being at 100. I think that is a milestone that you have to hit. I have PvE versions of that I don't like as well too. Like having to do 100 veils is a pain. It's a chore. Having to find 100 horns after they've already nerfed that aspect of like that commendation is also still a bit of a pain. But I understand it, and that's something that I'm willing to accept if that's what I need to do. Same thing with like 500, deliver 500 animals on time for the Pirate Legend commendation. Like there's some pretty grindy ones in there. For me, it's the aspect that I am locked behind. Like I can put in the work. I can go and steal 15 skulls as a Reaper emissary and get that all done within this season, but there's no way for me to earn credit for those, which means that I then have to disengage with the current content, which is what I'm looking forward to engage in another type of content that's older, because that was not the style of gameplay that I enjoyed. And I wish that there was a way that I could get some kind of credit for stuff that I'm doing if I meet all of the requirements except for one, which is wearing the curse. Anyone want to jump in on that, or you guys good? Alrighty. So looking at the rest of the commendations, I like that they have you do things like killing a number of skeletons with or a number of enemies with the Cannon of Rage. I like that they want you to grab one of the rage or cannons, hand that to a skeleton, find a keg, hand it to a skeleton. They're teaching you what's possible again with some of these commendations. And to Godhammer's point, I think that some of them very easy to do. Selling 50 skulls of the banished is not a large ask. It's definitely a lot easier than trying to find or do 100 of them. I think there are some that are like, you have to really pay attention to what's going on. It's going to be easier with more people than if you're just solo. Like there's a bony bodyguard commendation here that says complete the search for ancient secrets without any of your skeletons dying more than 6 times. I don't know if that is individual deaths or group deaths. Like I don't know if my skeletons die an accumulative 6 times, will that work? Because I don't know if it's an individual skeleton can't die, but there's missing some information on some of these that I wish was expanded a little bit on some of the commendations to help out with this. Norwegian unfortunately has to take off. Says, I did want to bring up the story delivery does not feel like they're telling a story at all. Also, hopefully they can find a way to bring more people into Insiders so they can do more testing and get more feedback to catch more bugs before release. Overall, I enjoy the season and I like the direction of what they've added overall, and just need more testing. Thank you guys and good sailing. Norwegian, thanks for hanging out with us. I definitely appreciate it. And thank you so much for the chat. We did have some bugs starting off on the season, a lot of beards and stuff like that. Did this impact any of you that much? Godhammer, I know you talked a little bit about how you were only able to really kind of deploy and touch the cannon, but you didn't get a chance to really use it all that much.
Yep. The reason that happened was because they tried to introduce some stability fixes for the beard errors people were getting. And so it started off that you were able to use the cannon, and then they were just trying to fix the beard errors seamlessly, but then that accidentally borked the cannon, which is why that happened. So that's why they had to take everything offline and hotfix stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not even a thing that would have been caught by insiders. It was just behind the scenes work that accidentally made a whoopsie and broke the cannon. Because it was working fine on insiders. I do know that much. So otherwise.
And definitely it's hard when when folks are testing stuff on insiders and they can't talk about it, because it's times like this where you know, it would be nice for people to come out and defend Rare and say like, hey, if things are working on insiders and it's borked on launch, it's not because insiders weren't doing their part. It's because something happened between the PTR client and the live client. And it's always tough to kind of like work around that aspect of it. But it does feel like the Rare team are always kind of monitoring. I'm glad they do these things on Thursdays. It'd be nice if they did them on Tuesdays, because at least Tuesdays would give the team more time during the week to actually figure out like what a hotfix is and do it without them having to waste their weekend. But I don't know how hard that is for them to shift the release schedule to like a Tuesday or something like that. But outside of that, let's see. I wanted to take a look at the rest of the release notes.
We were also on commendations, if you wanted to get back to that.
True. I was looking at some of the commendations. I like what they've done with some of them. I think that having you use the Canon of Rage is a great way to kind of like enable some of the usage of that. They have other ones where it's just unearthing ancient pillars, which I think is a good way for you to make sure that you're engaging with the actual voyage. There's others where you have to completely unearth skeletons in the Devil's Roar. I was surprised that they didn't leave the roar out of this, that they actually included the roar in some of their commendations. I don't think we see that enough. I think we need more focus kind of in the roar for some things.
They haven't forgotten it exists. Hooray.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll actually get some content that's actually focused in the roar. I actually really liked it when I can't remember what it was, but they had an event where they turned off the volcanoes and you could just go do stuff there.
That was the adventure.
Was it the adventure? The Heart of Fire? Or no, you're talking about the Herald of the Flame one.
That's the one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. God, bring that back. But outside of that, I think that the commendations in the build rat section are very manageable. I don't think that they're anything that anyone should have too much trouble with, unless, like myself, you just don't have that curse to be able to get access to some of those. But looking at the other part of this that came in with this update, the Reaper's chests have changed a little bit, and they've changed the value. So now the Reaper's bones are seeking the power held by the Reaper's chests and bounties to fulfill their needs, and now reward increased gold and reputation to crews delivering these to the Reaper's hideout. I thought that was very interesting that they decided to bump up the values of these. Godhammer, you got some thoughts?
What's it up to? I haven't turned one in yet.
I haven't gotten to turn one in either. I've been so focused on the cannons of rage in the voyage and stealing skulls that I haven't even I haven't gotten a chance to actually check and see what these are. They've been so far away.
We were about to grab one. We took out a brig last night that was they had boarding skills, but they didn't have naval skills. And we sunk them. They had a Reaper chest on, but the thing sunk like immediately. It wasn't in the water for maybe 5 minutes, and it was already sinking to the bottom of the sea floor.
Oh god, I hate that.
I swam until I died, and I still couldn't find it. I was upset. But
Man.
They came back, and they said, "We're just here to PvP," and then we sunk their boat, and they couldn't PvP no more.
Oh my god. So yeah, that's really nice. They also increased the limits to the Fort of Fortune chests, as well as the Reaper chests and bounties. So there's more a new grade added to those commendations that will be unlocked to get you access to the Regal Fortune cannons, capstan, wheel, and flag, which is nice. I'm still extremely far behind on my FOF and Chest of Fortune turns. This is also the first season that they haven't actually moved the Chest of Fortune, which was kind of interesting. They've left it in the vault of the Fort of Fortune as it was last season. Godhammer, Static, I'm very curious to hear if you think that was a bad idea. Should they have moved it to like the fleet again? What do you guys think?
I feel they should have brought back the fleet. I have a lot of friends that actually really enjoyed the fleet. It was just a fun world event in general. I'm only at grade 1 for handing in the Chest of Fortune, so I'm extremely far behind. But I don't see why they can't move it to Ashen Winds or the Ghost Fleet or just a basic Skull Fort. Like, why does it have to be the extraordinary world events? Why can't it just literally be a random world event? And this time around, it's Ashen Winds. Like, bring life back into the Ashen Winds world event by forcing people to go do that and get the PvP interaction into it. But they only ever move it to Fort of the Damned or Fort of Fortune now, and it's kind of meh.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Godhammer, I'd like to get your thoughts on this, and Regis as well too. If you have any thoughts, feel free to jump in.
Having done, I've turned in Chest of Fortune through every change that they've done, and I'm honestly, I would be happy if it just stayed at the Fort of Fortune forever at this point. I would be upset if I had to go back to Fort of the Damned to do it again. I'm over Fort of the Damned. I don't enjoy that place like at all. I'm just so over Fort of the Damned. The fleet was fun, but it was way too easy. I was clearing out the fleet alone in like 15 minutes, and it was just too easy. I think the Fort of Fortune is the right mix of time, challenge, and risk to secure a Chest of Fortune, and the Chest of Fortune should be, a little tricky to get a hold of. I think leaving it in the Fort of Fortune now, I wouldn't be upset if they just left it there permanently going forward.
What if they move it to the Ashen Winds, but instead of dealing with one Ashen Lord, you have to deal with 2?
What if you had to deal with all of them at once?
Oh,
all 4 of them.
All 4?
All 4 of them. You wouldn't get the award until all 4 of them were dead.
That would be absolute chaos.
I'd be cool with that.
Chaos.
I'd be fine with trying that out. Let's give that a go.
Static, you want to fight all 4 Ashen Lords?
Isn't there technically 5? Didn't Stitcher Jim become an Ashen Lord?
We don't talk about him anymore.
He's dead, unfortunately. He served his purpose as the Herald of Flame.
Well, how dare you? Then very well. I would only do it if all 5 were there.
Stitcher Jim is the final boss.
I'm still mad that Stitcher Jim never showed up as a milestone under Ashen Lords Killed.
I mean, when you only have something that's up for a week or 2, it's hard. They would have to figure out a way to make it into like a skeleton throne at this point.
That's fine. Yeah, I want my little tick saying I did it.
I don't know. They missed a good opportunity there to incorporate him into the rotation of potential Ashen Lords on that world event.
Agreed.
I think that while I don't have a problem with where you're going with it, I think that the intent was they wanted to have his character have a final arc in his story, and that it's one of sorrow, where he was driven mad, he turned into an Ashen Lord, and was subsequently destroyed, never to return, unfortunately. And I think that was just the role that his fate dealt him.
And his remains was used to resurrect Captain Flamart, which all of us chose to resurrect, mind you.
That's fair. His skull was what was used.
All of us?
Yeah. Enough of us.
Those who chose Reapers.
Enough of us. Look, the Athena bros got your Merrick's Port Merrick. Some of us chose Flameheart. Some of us didn't. I was just wondering where Pendragon is. Looking at the show notes, or not the show notes, looking at the rest of the season as far as the notes go from what Rare gave us, I'm pretty content with what they've brought us for this first portion of the season. There's a lot more to come. There's a lot more to find out about. To Norwegian's point, I'm curious if you all, because I've been doing my research with the interview that I did with Mike Chapman. I'm very curious. Does the story come across in this voyage at all to you all? Do you feel like the narrative being pushed with this voyage and what we're doing?
I think it's a bit lacking, to be honest.
In what way would you say, if you had to expand on that?
Just more information gathering, or in this case, army building. In the case of Flameheart, like I don't know if I'm not gonna say anything because of insiders for obvious or freaking reasons.
Gotcha.
I think that they are. It sounds as though from their last podcast that they did, and it was very kind of them to drop that when you missed your weekend or your week there. Very courteous of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sounds as though they're going to be tying more story towards seasonal drops. So it sounds like it might get a little bit more involved going forward. If it's where it is right now, like for the rest of the season, yeah, it'd be really lacking. Especially since they scrubbed all that graffiti off very quickly, especially the ones on the big rocks out in the middle of the sea.
Really curious, where'd they get all that red paint? Who was up there? Why didn't we have scaffolding? Why didn't we catch any of them putting it up? Very curious. By the way, Rare.
It's magic, you muggle.
It's not magic. It's fine. It's magic.
Well, I'm still sort of. It's sad that they missed the trick of mining the rocks for Port Merrick out of the rocks that are nearby in the sea. It would have been really cool to see some of the rocks be like quarried out. That would have been fun. But
let's break down some of those giant pillars. Arch pillars.
So hopefully they give the story a lot more. I hope they give it a little bit more of a zhuzh going forward. Yes, because if this is where it's at for the rest of the season, then it's not a whole lot, is it?
Not a terrible lot, but I will say that we do have the Xbox event coming up at the beginning of June. Historically, that's typically when they tend to have a really nice kind of trailer showcasing some of what's going to be going on in Sea of Thieves. We'll be only 1 month roughly into the season, not even a month, maybe a couple weeks into the season. So chances are whatever trailer they decide to put out for the Xbox showcase will probably highlight stuff that's for season 16, at which point there's a good chance that they might be holding on to something that they haven't talked about, to kind of say like, hey, this is something to come check out and Sea of Thieves, and we're introducing this or that, or give season 16 a little bit more of a bump with the story or things like that, kind of in the near future.
Yeah, like I don't know why, but I'm getting like deja vu of like pre 2021 Xbox game showcase, Sea of Thieves wise. Like we know absolutely nothing about like what's to come, like beyond what we already know. Like just then suddenly out of nowhere Jack Sparrow showed up and we just lose our bloody minds. So do you think something like that can happen again? Not like Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously, because I think they're still negotiating the rights, but maybe like another franchise or pirate IP. I mean, they don't need permission for like Peter Pan or Treasure Island, but the two I have in mind, and this, Logan, because you probably asked the who in the interview, then we shall see.
I have a feeling that what Rare is doing, based on the podcast, that whatever's coming next is going to be tied to the threat of freedom within Sea of Thieves with the introduction of the GMU. And I was actually thumbing through the Godhammer. You got something you want to jump in?
I'm keeping my expectations fairly low. Because fair. I usually when they've done that sort of thing, they've been about to drop something like really soon, captaincy, a pirate's life, that sort of thing. So unless they're going for like a real surprise, which I don't see happening, I'm not 100%. I wouldn't. I'm not putting my expectations real high on whatever they plan to drop. If anything, I would say my expectations are higher that they'll show off Everwild, but like it's been 6 years, so
It's definitely a possibility. I think that we'll probably get. I'm hoping that we'll actually get something Everwild. I have no clue what Xbox has got planned for this showcase, even though I'm going to be going there and going to Summer's Games Fest. There's very mum on rumors about what's going on there. I found it interesting that so I got my art book this week, and I was going through every page and reading all the notes that Chris Alcock had put in there. The one that I found the most interesting tied to the page that introduced the sovereigns and when those came into the game, and one of the notes that was mentioned on that page was how not much is known about them, but it is clear they have a connection to the GMU based on the symbol on their rings that they wear. So I'm kind of hoping that whatever the teaser is teaser for future content, and it could be something where they say, hey, coming next year, the GMU are looking to invade Sea of Thieves, and it's up to the pirates of the Sea of Thieves, whether you're for Flameheart or whether you're for Ramsey, that you have to try and prevent this trade company from coming in and taking over the Sea of Thieves and forcing everyone to work for them, kind of thing. And I'm totally fine with that being a long, like a pushed out content drop that they have planned, so that they can actually work on other stuff in the meantime to kind of keep the cadence of content flowing.
The podcast they did invoke the specter of the Dark Brethren and the rarefied Captain.
That is very true. And I think I would not be surprised if we eventually see them make their way back to the Sea Thieves, because it's been a hot minute since we've heard about the Dark Brethren court. What's going on with them? Is the captain, like, I'm kind of curious, like, what would the captain do in Sea of Thieves, and how Flameheart would react to his old captain coming back to the Sea of Thieves? Would that be something that would kind of put a little fear into the king of Sea of Thieves kind of thing, you know? But we're still a long ways off from that. I'm glad that we are getting some story with this new update that kind of feeds into the Flameheart is frantically trying to get power through the ancients and has discovered that there is a sect of ancients that are bad, or maybe not necessarily as popular as the ones that have kind of been protecting the Sea of the Damned, or the ones that traveled to the Sea of the Damned. And these ones that have been locked away, been banished, never got to go to the Sea of the Damned, to that perfect paradise. And Flameheart is maybe looking to find new allies or power within the widow, and what she can maybe tell or offer him in the means of ancient power. Anyone want to jump in on that, or any thoughts on that you guys want to talk about?
Oh, I don't have any good thoughts about it, but it is an intriguing little lore tidbit there, that there are ancients that were locked away. I like that. It's interesting, something exciting to explore more of.
Yeah. Looking forward to finding out a lot about that, especially with the advent of the dark constellations, and finding more about like the prince, with the like going through and reading all the little journals from the skeleton camps. Makes me wonder if we're going to see more of the ancients and how that's going to tie into Flameheart, how Ramsey is going to react to Flameheart trying to get this power. And is it going to be something that is enough to either hold back or stem the influx of the GMU? Or if the advent of the captain and the Dark Brethren making a return could upset the power balance for the Reapers, and give Ramsey maybe the friend of my friend is the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of a situation, maybe. But very interesting to kind of find out. Was there anything you guys wanted to jump into, or anything that I missed that you wanted to talk about before we close out?
Oh, maybe this is the time to say that. Make the Merrick's Recipe Voyage from the Hunter's Call special event we just had. Make the Merrick's Recipe Voyage the emissary voyage for the Hunter's Call, is what I'll say.
I second that notion.
You guys aren't happy
And-
with the ancient Megs being the emissary voyage?
That's great, but we should have like an emissary voyage type thing to just like sort of cap that off. I like because the ancient Megs are something that anybody can do. It's just that you get the insider information by hitting Hunter's Call 5 and knowing exactly where they are to go do them specifically. I would like to see the recipe voyage, and it should be Herrick's recipe voyage because he's the chef of the family. Merrick's a ghost. He's down in the Legends hideout. Herrick is the one who needs those fish right now to make delicious delights, and we should be delivering the fish to him specifically. Well, not specifically, but to the Hunter's Call to give to him to make food. Make the recipe voyage the emissary voyage.
I really enjoyed that voyage. It was really good. I'm amazed that that isn't something that isn't part of the Hunter's Call as baseline.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I did too. Anything else you guys want to jump into? Pause for effect while I wait for the inevitable. The inevitable kilt request. Wow.
I think he's waiting. I think he's waiting for you to call on him.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Let's get out of here in that case. I've been keeping you guys on for far longer than usual, so I appreciate the time today. I know it is Twitch drop weekend, so if you guys haven't already, get your 6 hours in to get your 8 rewards. They actually have some really interesting ones, which I appreciated. I don't know how far one level of renown is really going to impress me for the time invested, but there's some awesome Twitch drops that they've introduced, and definitely some joke ones in there as well too. So make sure you guys are getting out there and watching some folks on Twitch this weekend if I can get this out in time. Outside of that, let's head out. So as always, thank you for joining me. Godhammer, anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
I do. For my birthday, my crew surprised me with a signed picture of our crew. One of them sneakily led me out to my favorite island, which is Old Salts Atoll, and we took pictures there. And then we, as a red herring, they led us to a bunch of other voyages that night and got pictures there to disguise it. But as a secret, they took that picture, printed it out, and then it had to make the trip from Northern Ontario all the way out to Germany, then to the west coast of America, and then all the way back to Northern Ontario to get it delivered to me. And they all signed it, and it was one of the most touching things, and I absolutely loved it. So Rainbow Sam, Wailing Witch, Tengus, thank you so much. That was so nice. I really appreciated that.
Aw, that's awesome. I love that kind of stuff. I love when crews have that kind of fantastic bond. I see that every time I go to Festa Legends and I meet up with community members here, meeting like the crew, the Black Rose. It's so fun to see them kind of like be friends and hang out and spend time with each other. It's so good that you guys have such an awesome crew, and it was so sweet of them to do something like that. I know this community has definitely done that for me on numerous occasions, so it's heartwarming.
Just the Sea of Thieves has, as a gaming experience, has only ever been rivaled by like Halo with the boys back in high school, back when it was like, you know, it was, the vibes were immaculate. We were all just hanging out, and nothing's ever been quite as good since then up until this point, and it's just the best.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, it's going to be hard to top, but Regis, anything you got going on or say as we head out?
Only one thing. Yesterday it was my eldest sister's engagement party. She's due to get married next year.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. How was the party?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. As someone who was a bit antisocial, autistic, like me, it's kind of overwhelming, but I did kind of had to put up with it because for my eldest sister. The only thing I will say in regret is if only our mom was here to see it happen, see Del be happy and see
yeah, it's always hard, especially in the first couple years when you lose someone that's that close to you, to have to go through those special moments, knowing that they would have loved to have been there. And I'm sure your mom is just thrilled to know that she's gotten engaged and would have loved to have been there. So, but I'm glad that you had a good time. I'm glad that you got out there and actually spent time with your family and got to celebrate as well too. Definitely do it some more. Get out there, have some fun. Make some memories. Just as long as you're safe or not safe, do what you want.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, Static, we're heading out, buddy. It's time for the monthly requests. I live for these. Anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
Yeah, there's a reason why I've been in a rowboat for the last 2 months. Been sailing around in a rowboat looking for a now hiring sign. As I don't have a crew anymore, so cue the sad walking away music.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I just don't have a crew anymore. So I guess this is an open invitation to anybody who listens. My gamer tag is literally the same as my call tag here on Discord. Just looking for a crew to play with. I have nobody anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that there's definitely some good folks, and it's not widely used, but we do have a find a crew channel. We also have Sherpas as well too. If you guys post in there, don't feel bad if no one replies, because my Discord is not one that typically gets a lot of folks using that. Because a lot of people do have crews, but there are some fantastic people in this Discord, and I love having the wide range of people. But yeah, definitely, if you all are looking for another hand and you don't want to have to go dig them up, definitely reach out to Static, because it's a lot of fun to spend time with them and get to actually do some voyages and just have fun. But I am going to request that you actually talk about the necessary kilt additions to the game and the Crystal Pig. I don't feel like it'd be complete.
Well, obviously, I mean, I was in the rowboat while I was looking. I didn't see any Crystal Pigs in the water that needed rescuing, and unfortunately, the barrels that had clothing in it, none of them were kilts. So they're just a bunch of ratty old sea dog stuff.
Oh, it's all the thrown away legendary sea dog costumes. Well, as much as I hate to say goodbye, I do appreciate you guys' time today. So thank you for joining me and helping make another episode. For those of you that don't know, this is all part of the Patreon perks. So the captains get their own channel, they get their own voice chat, and they get their own voices heard on all the episodes. And it's honestly one of the things I really love to hear, because it's the experiences that you all have help shape and adjust my perspective on the game and how I feel about it. So it's great to hear the positives and negatives, because I know that is something that needs to be talked about more on like a public forum that isn't something like it's not like a social media cesspool where people are baiting others and stuff like that. So I love these conversations, and I like having them every week, or not every week, every month. So I'm looking forward to that next month to see what we're going to talk about, because I think we're going to be talking about probably the Xbox showcase and what is potentially coming down the line for Rare and Sea of Thieves in the coming months. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for you all joining me today. And for everyone that's listening at home, I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you're having a great week. I hope that you got all of the skulls, gold, doubloons, whatever you're hunting for, whether it be fish, scales, teeth. I hope you get them, and I hope it comes easy to you. So thanks all for hanging out with me and listening. And that's it, fam.